Today we mourn every life lost to COVID. We recognize every family that has an empty place at their dinner table, a hole in their heart that will never be filled. I was lucky and I survived COVID, but survival does not necessarily mean recovery. I started the world's largest COVID grassroots movement in my bedroom in March when I was in isolation with COVID. That group, Survivor Corps, now has close to 110,000 members. Our mission is to mobilize an army of COVID survivors to donate their plasma and support science. We became a patient advocacy movement as we discovered that many infected with mild to average cases were not recovering. According to the CDC, 1 out of every 3 people who contract COVID are not recovering in time, and people are suffering now from long-term COVID-19. They are young, they are old, they are men, women, people of every color. Some had pre-existing conditions. Many were at the prime of their lives when they got COVID. People suffering from long-term COVID are in pain. People in their 20s and 30s are suffering from strokes and heart attacks months after contracting the virus. They are suffering from severe neurological issues. This virus is attacking every organ system and it is wreaking havoc. COVID survivors are alive, but they are not living. Their bodies have aged decades in a matter of months. Long-term COVID is a disease in its own right and needs to be acknowledged as such. We need to add another column to our tracking system. We are counting the number of those infected, hospitalized, and the staggering number of those who have died. But there's another number that needs to be added to our metric: the people who were infected and have not recovered, those suffering from long-term COVID-19. We need a national COVID strategy that works and counts everyone. We need a national COVID strategy that establishes long-term COVID care centers nationwide that are available to all, regardless of insurance or employment, and regardless if that person was able to get a diagnostic test in the spring when they were largely unavailable and often faulty. We need a national COVID strategy that focuses on finding a therapeutic that will help those suffering and put a halt to the progression of disease after infection. We need a national COVID strategy to build private and public partnerships to defeat siloed healthcare in order to treat the whole person and not just the symptoms. We have mobilized an army of survivors to donate plasma and support science, but those survivors now need help. We are turning to the government. We will work with you. We will offer ourselves up as subjects, give you our blood, our plasma, our everything. We will work hand in hand with you to further science. But we need a commitment from you to pursue a therapeutic for people suffering from long-term COVID with the same funding and energy and tenacity as Operation Warp Speed has placed in the race for a vaccine. Today, I ask our thought leaders here in Washington, D.C. and around the country to become our champions and support us through the long road to recovery ahead. Today, I ask survivors who are only learning about us today, join us in our advocacy and tell us your stories. Survivor Corps is here for you. Survivor Corps is the epicenter of hope. And today, finally, I promise the families of those we have lost, we will honor your loved ones every day as we advocate to eradicate this disease.